Hey Blink News fam, buckle up your detective hats and grab your magnifying glasses, because tonight we're diving headfirst into the puzzling enigmas that linger across the USA. That's right, we're tackling 15 of the strangest unsolved mysteries from each state. From coast to coast, every state boasts its own share of head-scratching historical whodunits, bizarre disappearances, and unexplained phenomena. Join us as we crack open these cold cases and explore the chilling legends, unsolved crimes, and paranormal occurrences that continue to baffle experts and locals alike. Think you know your state's history? Well, get ready to be surprised. We might just unearth some mysteries you've never even heard of before. So whether you're a true crime buff, a paranormal enthusiast, or simply curious about the unexplained, this video has something for everyone. Prepare to be amazed, creeped out, and maybe even inspired to do some digging of your own. Who knows, maybe you'll be the one to crack the case on one of these long-standing mysteries. So grab your popcorn, sharpen your sleuthing skills, and get ready for a whirlwind tour of America's most baffling unsolved mysteries. One state at a time, let's get mysterious. 1. Oklahoma, the Jameson family. The Oklahoma wind whispered secrets through the tall grass in the fall of 2014. Bobby and Sherilyn Jameson, a seemingly ordinary couple, packed their car with dreams of a new life. They were headed to Red Oak to check on a property they were considering buying. Their 6-year-old daughter, Madison, bounced with excitement in the back seat, ready for a fresh adventure. But the adventure never came. Days later, Bobby's truck was found abandoned on a dusty road, eerily silent. It was as if the family had vanished into thin air. Their wallets, IDs, phones, and even a hefty sum of cash, $32,000, were left untouched. Their loyal dog, a silent witness to whatever transpired, remained chained nearby. Then, a month later, a horrifying discovery ripped the heart out of the small town. Hunters stumbled upon skeletal remains deep in the woods. The worst fear became a chilling reality. It was the Jamesons. But the mystery deepened. With no apparent cause of death, a storm of theories swirled. Did they meet with foul play? Did they succumb to the elements, lost and alone? Some whispers suggested they may have been tangled in a web of dark secrets. Stories emerged of the couple's supposed involvement with cults or even witchcraft. But were these whispers fueled by grief or something more sinister? Another unthinkable theory emerged, that the family staged their own disappearance. Could they have faked their deaths and left everything behind, entering witness protection perhaps? But it was a theory riddled with holes. Why leave behind such a substantial amount of money, their beloved dog, and most importantly, their innocent daughter? The Jameson case became a chilling enigma, a haunting melody with no resolution. To this day, the Oklahoma wind carries the weight of unanswered questions. What truly happened to the Jameson family? Did they meet a tragic end, or did they choose a path far more unsettling? The answer, like the Oklahoma wind, remains elusive. 2. Oregon, the mysterious shrieks of Forest Grove. The tranquility of Forest Grove, a town usually lulled by the gentle hum of crickets and the distant murmur of traffic, was shattered in February 2016. An otherworldly shriek, a sound unlike anything the residents had ever heard before, tore through the night. It wasn't a single sharp cry, but a sustained screech, like metal tortured by an unseen force. It seemed to crawl under your skin, sending shivers down spines and raising goosebumps, even on the most stoic residents. The bizarre sound defied logic. Some described it as a train careening off the tracks, a hair-raising symphony of screeching metal. Yet, there were no trains anywhere near Forest Grove, and the closest tracks lay miles away. The otherworldly shrieks would erupt seemingly at random, echoing through the quiet streets and bouncing off houses. People scrambled out of bed, phones clutched in trembling hands, desperately trying to capture the sound. The recordings, which became a grim soundtrack to the town's unease, were chilling. The raw metallic screech seemed to pierce the very fabric of reality. Theories swirled like leaves in a sudden gust. A rogue weather phenomenon, a prank gone horribly wrong, even a message from extraterrestrial visitors. But as quickly as the shrieks began, they stopped. One night, they were a terrifying lullaby, and the next, an unsettling memory. Despite the recordings, despite the collective unease that clung to Forest Grove like a stubborn fog, the source of the sound remained a mystery. No scientific explanation emerged, no culprit was identified. The quiet town, once a haven of peace, now held the unsettling echo of an unexplained phenomenon, a reminder that sometimes the most terrifying things come from the silence itself. 3 Pennsylvania, Boy in the Box. A crisp February morning in 1957 shattered the usual tranquility of the woods outside Philadelphia. A group of picnickers stumbled upon a horrifying sight, a small weathered cardboard box nestled amongst the trees. Inside lay the lifeless body of a young boy, no older than 4. His naked body, wrapped in a cheap blanket, bore the marks of a brutal past. Malnourished and covered in bruises, the little boy's story was etched on his pale skin, a silent scream for justice. The authorities were baffled. The boy had no identification, and despite extensive searches and public appeals, no one came forward claiming a missing child matching his description. The wooded area yielded no clues, no witnesses, nothing that could lead them to the perpetrator or even the boy's identity. The case became a chilling enigma, a little boy lost in a maze of anonymity. 3 years later, in a desperate attempt to break the case, the police turned to an unorthodox source, a psychic. The psychic, shrouded in mystery, led them to a foster home on the outskirts of the city. Could this be the missing piece they were searching for? Hope flickered momentarily, but upon investigation, a definitive connection couldn't be established. The foster home had no record of a boy matching the description, and the trail went cold once again. Years have turned into decades, but the image of the boy in the box remains etched in the collective memory of Philadelphia. Each passing year adds another layer of dust to the case file, yet the yearning for answers lingers. Who was this little boy? Who inflicted such cruelty upon him? The woods may hold the secrets, but for now, the boy in the box remains a haunting echo of a life stolen, a silent testament to the enduring power of an unsolved mystery. Rhode Island. Where is Adam Emory? The year was 1993. A Rhode Island courtroom crackled with tension. Adam Emory had just been found guilty of a brutal road rage murder, the victim a young man named Jason Bass. But before justice could be served, Emory vanished. Not days, not weeks, but mere hours after the verdict. It was a disappearance as baffling as the crime itself. Emory, it turned out, was out on bail awaiting sentencing. This chilling twist left authorities scrambling. Had he fled, planned this escape all along? The answer seemed to lie on the Claiborne-Pell Bridge, a majestic span that arched over the churning waters of Narragansett Bay. There, abandoned and forlorn, sat Emory's car. It was a scene straight out of a detective novel, a haunting clue with no immediate answers. Months bled into a year, the search for Emory growing colder with each passing day. Then, a grim discovery washed ashore. Human remains, later confirmed to be those of Emory's wife, were pulled from the bay. The whispers started then, a double suicide pact, a desperate escape from a looming prison sentence. But the bridge held its secrets close. Were these the final acts of a desperate couple, or something more sinister? The FBI wasn't convinced. Adam Emory, the convicted murderer, remained on their most wanted list. Was he living a life under an assumed identity? Had he orchestrated some elaborate escape, leaving his wife behind? The questions hung heavy, a chilling reminder that sometimes the truth can be as elusive as the ghost of a man who vanished without a trace.
5. South Carolina, the Lizard Man. The sleepy town of Browntown, South Carolina, simmered under the summer sun of 1988. Little did its residents know a legend was about to be born. It all began with whispers, hushed conversations about a monstrous figure lurking in the swamp on the outskirts of town. Then, the sightings started. One humid night, a local teenager named Chris Davis found himself face to face with the unimaginable. His car sputtered to a stop on a lonely stretch of road, and as he stepped out to investigate, a colossal reptilian figure emerged from the darkness. Towering 7 feet tall, the creature boasted glowing red eyes and skin that shimmered like scales. Panic surged through Chris as the beast tore at his car with an unnatural strength, leaving behind mangled metal and shredded tires. News of the attack spread like wildfire through Browntown. Soon, stories emerged of a lizard man, a creature straight out of a nightmare terrorizing the swamp. The local sheriff, Liston Truesdale, initially dismissed the claims as swamp fever-induced hallucinations. However, a string of similar sightings, including mauled livestock and blood-curdling screams echoing from the murky depths, forced him to take notice. The mystery of the lizard man gripped Browntown. Was it a mutated alligator, a prank gone horribly wrong, or something far more sinister? Even today, the legend persists. Sightings have been reported as recently as 2015, keeping the residents of Browntown on edge and the lizard man firmly entrenched in local folklore. The truth behind the swamp creature remains shrouded in mystery, a chilling reminder that sometimes the most unbelievable stories can have the strongest bite.
6. South Dakota, the strange fate of Tom Cooter. In 1994, Tina Marcotte called a friend to say she had a flat tire, but that her co-worker, Tom Keeter, was going to help her out. Tina was never seen or heard from again, and when Tom was questioned by police, he disputed that he'd been in touch with Tina on that day. The next day, Tom was found dead. He had been run over by his own forklift. Was it an accident? Suicide? Homicide? And what happened to Tina Marcotte? 7. Tennessee, the Craig Miles Mausoleum. In 1871, Nina Craig Miles was killed at the age of 7 when the buggy she was riding in was hit by a train. Her family had a mausoleum built for her and future deceased members of the Craig Miles family, of fine white Italian marble. Shortly after Nina was placed there, red streaks and splotches began to appear in the marble. Efforts to clean the marble failed, and each time a family member's body was placed in the mausoleum, more red stains appeared. There's no scientific explanation for the stains. Some believe they are Nina's tears.
8. Texas, the girl behind the Amber Alerts. The Texas sun beat down on January 13, 1996, a day that would forever scar the Arlington community. 9-year-old Amber Hagerman, a bright and bubbly Girl Scout, hopped on her pink bicycle with her younger brother Ricky in tow. They were headed for a nearby grocery store, just a quick errand before another day of childhood adventures. But for Amber, this seemingly ordinary afternoon ride would be her last. As Ricky waited outside the store, Amber vanished. A witness, shaken but clear-eyed, reported seeing a stranger force Amber into a black van. Panic surged through the town. A massive search began, volunteers scouring every street and park, their hope dwindling with each passing hour. Sadly, their worst fears were confirmed 5 agonizing days later. Amber's body was found miles away, the life extinguished from her bright eyes. The entire nation mourned the loss of this innocent child. But from tragedy came a flicker of hope. A local news director, touched by Amber's story, spearheaded a campaign for a new emergency alert system. The idea was simple: utilize media broadcasts to quickly spread information about missing children. The Amber Alert, named after the little girl whose smile was stolen, was born. The first Amber Alert was issued in 1996, just months after Amber's disappearance. Since then, the system has helped recover hundreds of kidnapped children, a testament to Amber's legacy. Though her killer remains unidentified, her story continues to serve as a stark reminder of the dangers children face and the unwavering power of community in the face of darkness. Amber's spirit lives on, not just in the watchful eyes of law enforcement, but in the countless lives saved by the system that bears her name. 9. Utah, Jean-Baptiste's Great Escape. The icy wind whipped across the Great Salt Lake, whistling a mournful tune past the desolate shores of Fremont Island. Here, banished from the bustling streets of Salt Lake City, resided Jean-Baptiste, a man forever marked by his grisly deeds. Baptiste, notorious for plundering the city's cemetery, had become a chilling legend. Now, his punishment mirrored the isolation he inflicted upon the deceased. Exile on a barren island, a solitary confinement surrounded by the vast emptiness of the lake. 3 weeks bled into one another, each sunrise revealing the same desolate landscape. The days were a monotonous cycle of gnawing hunger and the relentless glare of the sun. Nights were filled with the eerie cries of gulls and the unsettling feeling of being watched by unseen eyes. But Jean-Baptiste, a man of cunning and resourcefulness, refused to succumb to despair. One morning, a search party arriving from the mainland found the island eerily quiet. Baptiste's shack stood empty, a single overturned bucket the only sign of recent activity. A closer inspection revealed a more startling discovery: remnants of wood missing from the island's lone shed. The chilling implication hung heavy in the air. Baptiste, the notorious grave robber, had vanished once again. Had he somehow managed to build a raft and escape the confines of his island prison? Or did the unforgiving elements of the Great Salt Lake claim him as their own? The answer, like the fate of Jean-Baptiste, remained a chilling mystery swallowed by the swirling waters of the lake. 10. Vermont, the Bennington Triangle. Nestled amidst the verdant embrace of Vermont's Green Mountains lies a place whispered about in hushed tones: the Bennington Triangle. This seemingly ordinary swathe of land, with Glastonbury Mountain as its silent sentinel, harbors a chilling secret, a string of unexplained disappearances. The year was 1945. An experienced guide, seasoned in navigating the wilderness, vanished into thin air while leading a hunting party. The forest, once familiar, swallowed him whole, leaving behind only bewildered stares and unanswered questions. A year later, tragedy struck again. Paula Jean Weldon, a bright college student, embarked on a solo hike, only to be consumed by the same eerie silence. Then came James Tedford, who seemingly blinked out of existence while riding a bus towards Bennington. These chilling episodes, clustered within the 1940s, fueled speculation. Was a cunning serial killer lurking in the shadows? Or perhaps something more sinister, something beyond human comprehension, was at play? Theories swirled like the mountain mist, some pointing to foul play, others hinting at paranormal forces. The Bennington Triangle remains an enigma, a place where the very fabric of reality seems to thin. Did these individuals fall prey to a ruthless killer, or were they whisked away by an unseen hand? The answer, like the dense foliage that shrouds the mountain, remains hidden, a chilling reminder of the mysteries that can linger even in the most seemingly familiar landscapes. 11. Virginia, the Old House Woods. Nestled along the charming Virginia coastline, the seaside town of Diggs held a secret, a place known as Old House Woods. This wasn't your typical sun-dappled forest. Whispers swirled about its past, a history that went beyond chirping birds and rustling leaves. Legend spoke of soldiers and pirates who once used these woods as a hideaway, leaving behind an unsettling legacy. Something lingered in the air of Old House Woods, a chill that crept deeper than the evening fog. Visitors ventured in, lured by curiosity or a thirst for adventure, only to be met with an unsettling sense of dread. An invisible hand seemed to tighten around their chests, squeezing out the joy of exploration and replacing it with a gnawing unease. Even the bravest souls found themselves quickening their pace, their eyes darting nervously at every rustle in the undergrowth. The woods themselves seemed to conspire in this eerie atmosphere. Horses, known for their calm nature, would shy and whinny in panic at unseen things. The air grew thick with a strange stillness, broken only by the occasional snap of a twig or the unsettling hoot of an owl. The stories weren't limited to just a general feeling of unease. Sightings of a ghostly woman, shrouded in white, flitting between the trees, became a chilling local legend. Some even swore they glimpsed figures clad in armor, spectral sentinels guarding the wood's forgotten secrets. These tales drew the attention of paranormal investigators, who descended on Old House Woods with their equipment and unwavering curiosity. But even these seasoned explorers, accustomed to the whispers of the unseen, found themselves unnerved. Several investigations were cut short, the teams leaving abruptly, their reasons shrouded in a secrecy as thick as the woods themselves. Old House Woods remained an enigma, a place where the veil between worlds seemed precariously thin. Was it the lingering energy of the past, the restless spirits of soldiers and pirates forever bound to the earth? Or something else entirely, a darkness that thrived on fear and thrived in the hushed silence of the Virginia woods? The answer, like the ghosts themselves, remained hidden amongst the whispering leaves and gnarled branches. 12. Washington. How Jason Padet became a math genius. Jason Padet wasn't your typical math whiz. This Tacoma furniture salesman, a self-proclaimed partier and all-around jock, had more interest in Friday night lights than complex equations. But life, as it often does, had a surprising curveball in store for him. One fateful night in 2002, Jason's world was turned upside down. A brutal attack outside a bar left him with a severe concussion. As he recovered, something extraordinary happened. The world, once seen through the lens of weekend plans and playful competition, began to reveal a hidden layer. Jason started seeing the universe in a whole new light, literally. According to Live Science, Jason developed the uncanny ability to visualize complex mathematical objects and physics concepts intuitively. Imagine numbers swirling in vibrant patterns, or the laws of motion playing out like a dazzling light show. That's the world Jason now inhabited. This newfound talent placed him in the rare category of acquired savant syndrome, a condition where a head injury unlocks extraordinary abilities in individuals. Jason became one of only 15 to 25 known cases in the world, a living testament to the brain's remarkable capacity for rewiring itself even after trauma. 13. West Virginia. The Octopus Mystery. The crisp autumn air of 1991 swirled around Martinsburg, West Virginia, as freelance writer Danny Casolaro arrived with a story brewing. Codenamed The Octopus, his investigation promised to expose a tangled web of power reaching the highest echelons of government and snaking its way across international borders. Armed with cryptic notes and a burning curiosity, Danny planned to meet a mysterious source who held the key to unraveling the whole mess. Days turned into weeks, filled with hushed phone calls, coded messages, and the thrill of the chase. Danny meticulously pieced together fragments of information, the octopus taking shape in his mind. He believed it involved a shadowy cabal manipulating events on a global scale. The closer he got, the more the danger seemed to grow. Then, silence. Danny's family received a chilling phone call. He was found dead in his hotel room, a scene authorities deemed a suicide. But for those who knew Danny, the details didn't add up. His passionate pursuit of truth, his meticulous nature, it all seemed to contradict such a drastic end. Was the octopus more real than anyone imagined? Did Danny uncover something so powerful it silenced him forever? The questions lingered, a shroud of mystery draped over Danny Casolaro's fate, leaving behind a story that continues to be whispered in hushed tones, a chilling reminder of the shadows that lurk beneath the surface. 14. Wisconsin. The demon bunk bed in the Tallman. The year was 1987, and the Tallman family of Horicon, Wisconsin, thought they were getting a steal. They'd found a perfectly good used bunk bed, perfect for their growing brood. Little did they know, this seemingly ordinary piece of furniture would become the center of a terrifying 9 months they'd never forget. It started subtly, Clock radios in the children's room would inexplicably switch stations in the dead of night. A paintbrush, left untouched on a table, would mysteriously dip itself in paint, leaving behind crimson streaks. The children, once full of energy, began to complain of headaches and stomach aches, ailments that baffled doctors who found nothing physically wrong. Then, things took a darker turn. The house, once a haven, became filled with an oppressive feeling. Doors would slam shut on their own. Unexplained whispers seemed to slither through the air. The once playful spirit of the house vanished, replaced by a chilling emptiness. One night, a fire erupted, seemingly out of nowhere. Thankfully, the Tallman family escaped unharmed, but the blaze left a trail of destruction. As they surveyed the damage, a horrifying realization dawned on them. The fire had originated precisely where the bunk bed stood. Desperate for answers and fearing for their safety, the Tallmans made a heart-wrenching decision. They dismantled the charred remnants of the bunk bed and hauled them to a junkyard, severing their connection to the source of the inexplicable terror. From that day on, the hauntings stopped. The oppressive air lifted, replaced by a sense of normalcy. The children's health returned, and the whispers faded into silence. The bunk bed, once a symbol of childhood dreams, became a chilling reminder of the time their home became a battleground between the living and the unseen. 15. Wyoming, Devil's Tower. Long before tourists started snapping selfies and scientists scratched their heads, Devil's Tower held a special place in the hearts of Native American tribes. Stories, passed down through generations, weave tales of bravery, celestial intervention, and the tower's sacred power. For some, it's the petrified remains of a defiant bear who dared to wrestle the great spirits. Others see it as a place where humans were gifted knowledge from the stars. This massive finger of rock, jutting defiantly from the plains, has even captured the imagination of Hollywood. Sci-fi buffs might remember the otherworldly light show that unfolded near Devil's Tower in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. But while the movie explored alien connections, science takes a more earthly approach. Geologists believe the tower is the solidified innards of an ancient volcano, a volcanic core that somehow pushed its way through layers of rock and solidified into the unique formation we see today. The exact how of its creation, however, remains a mystery. How did this solitary giant erupt without a surrounding mountain? The answer, much like the stories whispered by the wind, continues to be a source of fascination and a challenge for the scientific mind.